I'm Bill Beardsley. I'm from Culture, Maine. I live in the house my mother was born in, go to the church where my folks were married to a local boat builder's daughter, and I'm running for governor, and one of the greatest pleasures are these individuals that are running with me. Every one of them is outstanding. Every one of them is worthy of our full support. I'd like to win the governorship, but I certainly would fully support every one of them. And I think that if we unify, this is a Republican year. My life, my experience with Hudson and other places is based on trust. I trust Maine people to care for their own land, to care for their own communities, to care for their own lives. And I think that we as Republicans, right at our heart, it's that level of trust that makes Maine different. It makes Republicans different and why we need this state. My background the last 23 years has been at Hudson University. When I went there, it was a near bankrupt little school. And it's evolved into a university with 3,000 Maine students now. I had to make tough decisions, sign every requisition, over $5. I hired good people, people like Susan Collins. We built the school. I worked close enough with the faculty that they voted out tenure. I worked close enough with the staff that they voted out the union. We now educate 3,000 Maine students without $1 in 23 years of direct state appropriation. We in the private sector can accomplish those kinds of things. My candidacy is based on three things. We've got to rebuild the economy, rebuild Maine. I'm a builder, trailblazer. First, we need to lower energy costs. You look what we've done. We've mothballed a perfectly good nuclear power plant. We've torn down and sold off our hydropower, the Florida Power and Light. We've put moratoriums and bans on every reliable low-cost source of energy except the cause du jour, and even that, which today is wind, is now getting faced with bans. So we've driven our electric costs up to 50% above the national average. It's unacceptable. We can't compete in our homes, in our transportation, in our industry. So we need to deal with that. I've been the director of the Division of Energy and Power Development for the state of Alaska. I've been a vice president at Bangor Hydroelectric Company. I know the field. We need to put all our options on the table. Nuclear, Canadian, hydro, from Hydro Quebec, all those options. And let the free enterprise system and market forces bring those costs down. We need to go back and change legislation so that Central Maine Power and Bangor Hydro can produce and generate electricity again. We have bans on that right now. The whole thing is crazy. Look at our natural resources. We're the same size as Ireland. We're half the landmass of New England. The Androscoggin and Kennebec drain 20% of the entire New England area. We can do better. Look at our vast forest. They're the largest contiguous forest east of the Mississippi. Look at our seaports down here at Bath and down at Eastport and other places. Those ports are a half day closer to Europe by container ship than are the ports of Baltimore and New York. We can do better. And yet, what do we do with our forests? We go out and bond for land for Maine's futures instead of bonding for roads and bridges. Take Granny with her 40-acre woodlot that she's going to retire on and pass on her shoulder. It's got a big stand of white palm. Wouldn't you think that our state government would support it? But no, they send out people to find a skidder rut or a cellar hole that they're going to call a vernal pool and take away our property. That's right against our Constitution. We should have our private property. We as Republicans believe that's not the kind of government that we should have. My background, I'm a doctorate in multiple-use forest resource management. I've led sustainable workshops in the Russia Far East. I've been the head of forest products for the state of Alaska. I've been the assistant dean of agriculture at the University of Vermont. I have experience in that area. Don't talk about it, don't make promises, but I'm saying what we need is we need commissioners that really know their fields, believe in their fields, and believe in a natural resource economy. We need to open up our seaports again. Now turn to the whole area of the taxes and regulations. Our taxes are above the national average. Our family income is 80% of the national average. There is a correlation. My commitment is to bring down taxes to the national average. And that will help us rejuvenate and send signals to industry, to young people wanting to come back to Maine alike. Do it over 5 to 8 years because times are tough, but do it. terms of regulation, I believe in very strict, rigorous regulation, but we need to absolutely commit a Republican administration to get rid of regulatory uncertainty, risk, and delay. That's what kills the family business, that's what kills Plum Creek, that's what kills anybody who wants to invest billions of dollars in this state. And so we can deal with those issues. And we have to reduce the footprint of state government in our lives. We need to take those unfunded liabilities to $5 to $6 billion and just say we're going to tackle them. It's going to be part of the budget process. To lower our state budget on an annual basis, we say let's start with taking the mandates and the eligibility requirements where we're more generous than the nation and simply bring them down to the national level. Those are the kinds of practical, hands-on things. To me, finally, what Maine is about is something you have right here in Androscoggin County, which is the unattended rural vegetable and fruit stands with the little cash jars and the signs that say, make your own change. That ultimately is what this is about. That gets back to that whole issue of trust. Why am I running? I'm running because for 23 years, I've been preparing young people for professional careers, and I desperately want to make sure those careers in Maine are in Maine. And I'll take Matt. Matt comes in my office. He says, I've been kicked out of school for having some knives. I said, go live for 2 weeks out of the dorms. I said, go live off campus on a couch. So Matt comes and he said, well, I don't know anybody. I don't have a car. And I said, and I'm studying hard. And I said, doesn't look like you're studying hard. And he said, I had a rough fall. I said, how come? He said, my mother's heart ruptured. She died. My dad's not taking it well. They said, where are you from? He says, 3 hours up north. And I said, Jay, how do you do in school? Third in my class of 17. And I said, well, what do you want to do with your life? And he says, I'm going to go home, build a house up on Grandma's Hill. I want to marry my childhood sweetheart. I want to be a job as a pharmacist downtown at the drugstore. And that's my dream. And I said, well, how are your finances? And he said, I don't have broke. I don't have any money at all. And I said, how did you get in? He said, well, I got a good scholarship program, but it wasn't enough. And so I enlisted in the Army last August. My grandmother got so upset, she gave me her life savings, and here I am. I'm running because of math. Thank you very much.